We should play some of that. That's actually kind of a classic game for the spoop season. It's really fucking stupid and basic. It literally is just 3D Pac-Man, and it doesn't really work because Pac-Man requires an overhead view. It's like how Bomberman has been tried over and over in 3D, and it doesn't work without the bird's eye view of the playfield. Although, let me tell you something about Bomberman. Some of the best gaming I've ever had, experiences I've had, were at parties, LAN parties, where in the back room, somebody had Sega Saturn Bomberman, which is the only one, still, the only one that supports 12 players. You have to hook up two multi-taps to get 6 players each, I think. Or, no, wait, it's three 4-player multi-taps? Some shit like that. It's an insane hook, like all the shit you need to buy. You need to buy a bunch of hardware. It's almost on the order of having to be a port in Nintendo in the mid 2000s if you wanted to play 4 Swords on GameCube. You had to have 4 Game Boy Advances, 4 Swords cartridges, 4 link cables, like per GameCube, I think. I mean, hypothetically, you can play System Link also. If you played the Game Boy Advance version on the Game Boy Player, you'd have 4 GameCubes and 4 Game Boy Players and 4 televisions as well. There's a Penny Arcade comic about that. That was harrowing. This world is also not that welcoming either. Oh! Oh! I'm the evil Metal Pac-Man. I have no clue who he is. I didn't pay attention to the story. Look, we stole the flying gunships from Super Mario Galaxy and every other Mario game. That's easy enough. This is a Babby game for Babitos. Oh shit, he's pissed! Oh, he's gonna fucking sodomize me. How does he have emotions? Why shoot me here then? You don't want that to happen. It's a boss fight. committed a murder? He was a sentient being. I love when games do that. They shower you with collectibles. Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap does that. Oh shit, I should stream that sometime. That's a baller game, Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap from Master System. It's one of the few 8-bit games that still holds up today. I don't even care. No. Is anyone really good at these? I was close. I wasn't close, that's a lie. This definitely feels like a game you'd pick up at GameStop in like 1997 or 8 because that's all you had credit for. Your mom's like, "Do you really want this game, or are you just buying it because I don't take you here often?" You're like, "I really want it," and inwardly you don't. Yeah, this isn't great, but it's also not bad. This is probably the best way they could have modernized this character is just make a bunch of shit up. Because what is there to go on in Pac Man? Old man knowledge. Find the crusty $5 slot. Do you think Magneto ever manipulated slot machines or roulette tables before people knew he had mutant powers? Is that ever touched on in the comics about how several mutants have powers they could use to cheat at casinos? Shit. Well, I also have never played the SpongeBob remaster. Am I missing much? I own it. You'd think I would have played it by now. It looked pretty good. I played a little bit of it, but not on stream. This is so Mario. Instead of smashing bricks, I smash treasure chests. It's not different at all. It's just like Mario, but now we're doing it. That's pretty fun. It's got fun gameplay. Everything feels bouncy. The physics feel nice. I can't really fault it on anything. It's just not very original. It's just what Nintendo was doing many years prior. It's also much more Crash Bandicoot than it is Mario 64. Which I guess was not obsolete yet at the time this was made. I met a very interesting, lovely young lady on the dating app I use. She's very pretty. I don't know how I keep doing it. I guess just by being really interesting and funny, but not handsome, if we're honest. I'm setting myself up for heartbreak again because if I chase after someone that much more attractive, then it can't possibly end well. Which I keep telling to women, and then I don't take my own advice. I keep dating the most attractive women I can possibly interest in me, and then doing a shocked Pikachu face when they eventually decide they can do better. Why do I do that? Why can I see the folly so clearly when women do the exact same thing, but when I do it, it's like, it'll be different this time. It's different when I do it. She lives in the UK, so I don't anticipate any possibility of success. What's up, Zulu? Apparently I need to take you to Vegas, Short Talk. I'll give you all my money. But anyway, she's Middle Eastern, but she was raised in the UK, so she has a British accent, but it's a posh British accent. It's not Cockney. Yeah, Zulu, this is a remaster of the PlayStation 1 Pac Man World. It's a bunch of nonsense because Pac-Man is such a basic, simple game. They had nothing to go on when making him into a 3D platformer, so they just fucking made shit up. It's pretty good. It's also kind of mediocre, but that's a victory. Honestly, just not having the game be dog shit is a victory when they had fucking nothing to go on and they had to completely modernize the character. This is a good blueprint for how to do that. Although, having said that, Pac Man World 2 and 3 are vastly, vastly better than this one. This is extremely basic bitch compared to 2 and 3. 2 and 3 were proper open world 3D platformers like Mario 64. Pac Man World 1 was just like Crash Bandicoot, which you can clearly see. There's just not much to it. Now, I love Pac-Man as a character just because he's iconic. And because the sounds, the bleeps and bloops of the arcade cabinet are burned into my brain and still release dopamine all these years later. I can't tell you what I like about Pac-Man. He's just a yellow ball. I guess he was well positioned for the time he came out, considering that the yellow smiley face was an iconic symbol of the 70s and early 80s. He's not really iconic on the same levels like Mario or Sonic, though. He doesn't have as much going on. What the fuck were they doing with his design? Look at his gloves and his boots. They're different colors. Why would they needlessly introduce additional colors? Cheese wheel. Watch me fail miserably at slots again. Anyways, she's very thoughtful and sweet and I think funny. She has strong opinions about the war in the Middle East right now, as you might imagine she would, being that she lives in the UK most of the time, but she also divides her time between the UK and the United Arab Emirates. So she's kind of has a foot in each world, and she's sending me all this political stuff about the history of the Middle Eastern conflicts for me to study up on, which I guess I can be motivated to do. She's Muslim, however, but not like Muslim. She's like the Muslim, diet Muslim that educated, privileged Western Muslims living in Europe tend to believe in, where it's more of a cultural thing. And she insists that it's actually an egalitarian, gentle religion of peace and prosperity for all humankind, which is just the general altruism humans feel in their heart and they attribute to whatever belief system they were raised in. What's a blarms? I don't know what a blarms is. It sets. No, I didn't set infinity. It searches based on where they are now, and the way the app works is that wherever you currently are, it knows where you are and it reports that location to people searching. So I guess she's in the area temporarily. I won't be able to benefit from that. But she spends most of her time between the UAE and the UK. Also, I quickly realized a surprising truth. If the sample size on this dating app is any indication, almost all the world's hot women are in Latin America. Especially Brazil. Brazilian women are fucking smoking hot effortlessly. Like all the fucking smoking hot baddies were Argentinian or Brazilian or that general area and background. And I was kind of ashamed at how few hotties were even in my fucking country. That we're not single mothers or aquafresh haired sewer mutants. It really seems like white women fall off abruptly after their 20s, and that other ethnicities have women who stay attractive longer. I guess because they're happier. Because they like men, instead of constantly being at war with the gender that they need to. No, that doesn't sound right. That sounds like a bunch of men's rights manosphere crap. That's just the lazy speculation of someone who's not really committed to finding serious answers. I guess I don't know. I have observed they seem happier. But goddamn, Brazilians are smoking hot. Holy Jesus. There were Brazilian women in their 50s on that app that looked like American 20-year-olds. I ain't looking at 20-year-olds. Nobody whose age starts with a 2 is on my radar, because I'm 40 now, and women in their 20s seem like retarded children to me. By no fault of their own, I was also a retarded child in my 20s. I was a directionless, angsty extremist who wanted to start a war against the entire world. So I wasn't any better. But now I'm looking at that group of people as a man of twice the age I was at that time, and rethinking some things. It just goes to show how gross a lot of the super conservative trad bloggers are when they say that the ideal age for a woman is like 20 years old. Women don't know shit at 20. Men also don't know shit at 20. So when they say men ought to be older when they marry because they're more established and they're worldly and they understand life better, the same is true for women. They come up with this shit about how all your eggs are bad by that age. I don't believe that. I think the ideal age for marriage is about 30-something. Like early 30s, which I've blown way the fuck past already, but I'm a late bloomer. It'll work out for me somehow. God damn no, Latin American women. Makes me fucking sweat just thinking about it. But this young lady I'm talking to is also very fetching. And honestly, it's fun just to have her ear. To fascinate and amuse and entertain a very attractive specimen of the fairer sex. Makes me feel important and appreciated. It speaks well of women in general that there are, I think more women who will pay attention to plain-looking men if they're really interesting and funny than there are men who will give the time of day to unattractive women. I attribute that to the greater emotional intelligence and empathy. Sure, there's some badly behaved women out there, but I think there's a higher proportion of women who are less superficial. Maybe evolution has something to do with that. I don't think historically men have been the more appealing of the two genders, which is why women are gay as fuck, and I don't blame them. Have you seen women? Of course they're gay as fuck. Like, maybe 10% of men are even roughly shaped like what they want men to look like. Whereas women on the whole, there's quite a lot of them. Even if they're a little on the heavier side, they still have an appealing shape to their body and still have neotenous facial features. They're just a damn good-looking gender. And that's what body positivity should focus on, not like be as unhealthy and fucking grotesque as you possibly can be. It should be like, hey, you're beautiful. There's an audience for every kind of woman out there. Because there legitimately is. Men fucking love women. We love all kinds of women. We get like weird and sweaty and fetishistic about even types of women who are convinced they're not appealing. You are appealing to somebody, I guarantee it. We just have big horny energy, all right? That's part of why they have such damn good luck on dating apps. Even really mid-looking girls can get decently good-looking guys because we love estrogen and what it does to the human anatomy. It's a fucking miracle. It's a miracle chemical. Meanwhile, what do men have? We're like burrito-powered forklifts. We're not really evolved to be appealing. We're evolved to be powerful and performant. We're like a Jeep. We're like a Jeep made out of beef. A beef Jeep. I feel jealous of women in that way sometimes. Not in like a trans way, but like they get to be aesthetic in a way that it's really hard for men to be. We have to work out in a specific way to get aesthetic bodies, whereas they just kind of naturally settle into that shape if they're not obese. And even some women with extra weight just kind of naturally, nevertheless, somehow assume an hourglass form. Because nature wants them to reproduce. What the fuck do I do here? Evolution is a hell of a drug, man. It really wants us to like each other. Everything about gender politics wants us not to like each other, but evolution is still like, no, come on. Every time we're like, I'm swearing off men, I'm swearing off women, evolution is like, come on, you're gonna come crawling back. You don't hate them that much, come on. Remember how funny men can be? Remember how compassionate and comforting women can be? Come on, you two. Don't you Don't you play this game. And it always fucking wins. It always gets its way in the end, because it fucking plays mind games with us. Like, look at how often men are telling other men, don't stick your dick in crazy. But what do? We keep sticking our dick in crazy, because if that was actually... If we weren't attracted to crazy, then evolution would squash that in a hurry. Our mouths say one thing. Our actions tell a different story, though. Guys out there listening, you know this is true. I could tell you all day, don't stick your dick in crazy. You would nod your head. And like, yep, that's wisdom. That's wise. I know that. But then if you had the opportunity to do it, to get with some fucking bipolar Scott Pilgrim, Ramona Flowers looking manic pixie e-girl, you would be unzipping your pants before I could finish warning you not to do it. We're self-destructive like that. Why are we like that? Why am I like that? Can't figure out what the fuck to do. Why am I stuck here? I need... What is that thing? It's like a lemon wrapped in a bow. Oh, I need to do this. It ruined your life, but part of you, even as you're saying that, is going, worth it, worth it, worth it, right? Yeah, no, I would probably try to get with Sniper Wolf if I thought there was a chance, even knowing that that would completely wreck my life. It's the fact that it's gonna wreck your life that makes it so exciting, I think. You're like, I know what's coming, I know what I'm doing, I know it's bad, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Here's the solution. I've got a solution for you fellas. It's a safety, quick escape, bungee harness system, which you strap to your body before coitus, and the other end affixes to a tree outside through a fake breakaway window like stuntmen use. And there's a ripcord on your harness, and if she ever turns on you during sex and out come her claws and teeth, you just pull the ripcord and you get flung through the breakaway window to safety. Maybe you break like one or two bones, but you have a bunch of those anyway. Nedis is saying, no, definitely not. He would never make that mistake again. Maybe you're just wiser and more mature than the rest of us. Is that it? Is that what you're trying to say? Because probably so. I would still fall for it. I'm like Knuckles falling for Eggman. Except Eggman is a e-girl. What's the matter, Sonic? Are you craving my McNuggies? Shit. Guess I figured out this what I'm supposed to do. Are you craving my emeralds? By which I mean my Pingus. Pingus? Where did that come from? That was like the cartoon, right? Snooping as usual, I see. Robotnik is a pretty good allegory for Yahweh. creates robots that misbehave and then gets angry that they misbehaved. Here we go. Oh, did she do that thing where that they all do, where they spread stories around and try to turn your friends against you and isolate you? Yeah, isolate from your friends and family. Is that how she did it? She made up stories about what an awful monster you were and what terrible things you did? Gotta believe women. I actually do, though. I want to be an author, so I have to. That's the soft power women have. It's nothing to be trifled with. They say there's no, the hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. That's because they can fuck you up in ways where you wish they had just broken your bones. They're Machiavellian, because that's what you gotta do when you don't have upper body strength. You gotta find other ways to hurt people. Shit. I think, who was it? Jordan Peterson, who said, if you think that strong men are scary and dangerous, wait till you see what a weak man can do. That goes for, I guess, women too. Because of the measures that you have to take if you don't have strength to inflict the kind of damage you want on other people. He is, though. Think about it. Robotnik is an allegory for Yahweh in the original Saturday morning cartoon. He made robots intentionally screwy and imperfect, and then he gets mad at them for being the way that he made them to be. As if you needed a reason. All the better reason, though, by the way, not to ever be toxic as best you can, because women are scary when they're upset. They have ways of making you regret crossing them. If you ever read Medea, the classic play, it's basically all about why you shouldn't double cross a woman and all the fucked up shit she'll do to you. Medea goes, it's like, oh, how bad could it possibly be? She does fucked up shit in that play. She does absolutely depraved, reprehensible shit. She makes Valerie Solanas seem like Barbie. Valerie Solanas being the authoress of the Scum Manifesto, which is basically, here's why we need to exterminate most men and keep the remainder as breeding cattle. Which is, frankly, sounds like many men's fetish and fantasy. Not the way she wanted to do it, though. She was quite serious. I think what I liked about Pac Man is that it was unpretentious. That's what I like about Atari in general. Is that the games aren't pretentious. They don't really have a story. They don't try to be movies. They don't try to make any kind of political statement. You know what I mean? It's like a toy. Atari games are like toys. They're endlessly replayable. In the way that sandbox games also are. How deep are they? Well, it depends on your skill level, sucker. You can get as much or as little replay value out of it as you're able to master the core gameplay loop. I have a firm belief that there's some number of primordial gameplay loops that were discovered back when that's all that a game could be, was a gameplay loop, because we didn't fucking have graphics or anything. So Atari engineers and Mattel engineers and all those other guys had to basically figure out all of the essential core gameplay loops that were possible to achieve on shit hardware. And then those just got recycled over and over in the future. All modern games are just combinations of gameplay loops that were discovered on the Atari 2600 40 years ago. More than 40. 40 years ago was, I think, 1982. Or 3 now. And the 2600 came out in 1977, so quite a lot, actually even further. Jesus. Half a century ago! Jesus Christ. Where does the time go? That was a bonus level. Now, not all of those original game loops appeal to me, but different people like different ones. Like, look at how many times Tower Defense was recycled and rehashed and remixed. How many fucking games that aren't even primarily Tower Defense games have Tower Defense elements or mini games in them? Think about that. That's a good question. I guess you could argue it's kind of an RTS, and the first RTS was on Intellivision. It was called Utopia. But if you dissect Factorio, there's a lot of micro gameplay elements that used to be entire games on their own. It's like driving around and fighting things in a tank and whatnot. Even if you don't agree, do you understand what I mean? The larger gameplay loops are made up of smaller gameplay loops, like they're atomic constituent elements. You love them because they're fucking crack cocaine. The primordial gameplay loops are what they are because they key into our fucking dopamine circuitry in our brain in a big way. For me, it's reflex shooters, where there's something trying to get you, and you're trying to prevent it from getting too close, like in Tempest, or in Centipede, or Black Widow, or Robotron. Which I guess just speaks to my fortress mentality, of everything is scary in the world, and I'm the only one who's real, and I have to fend off the agents of darkness who besiege me upon all sides. You could also consider Tempest and Centipede as allegories for border control. Because whatever is unlike you keeps trying to cross the line on the screen. In Tempest, it's the lower third of the screen they try to get to, and then once they're in your territory, they're a much bigger problem. And in Tempest, once they reach the border of the screen, if it's not 2,000, 3,000, or 4,000, there's nothing you can do except for the Super Zapper, and you only get one of those per life. There's no jump in the original Tempest. So you just have to make sure they never reach you. Poor Pac Man. He's had such a mixed bag of games. Even the ones that were bad, though, were kind of funny. Like Pac Man 2, where you just abuse the shit out of him in a point-and-click adventure game to make him do what you want. And he throws tantrums sometimes. There was a game that was like kind of like Sonic. That was a puzzle platformer where you could roll around, which is where his spin dash comes from. That was on Super Nintendo. What are the strengths? He's a simple, visually simple character. Nobody's ever going to call Pac Man woke. He can be depicted on a wide range of hardware because there's not a lot to his design. He can do a lot of different things because he's ball-shaped. He can spin, he can roll, he can bounce. He can be a pinball if you want. I thought it was an allegory for climate change and environmentalism, where nature gets more and more hostile to you over time as you continue to exploit it for your own gain. Oh, he has a custom animation for when he does that. No, that's not what I wanted to do. That's tricky. I guess that's the point of it. I shouldn't complain about tricky platforming with a fucking platformer. Fuck! Kind of makes you wonder how history would have been different if Jaguar was a little bit better. Because John Carmack had some ideas about how they could have increased the Jaguar price by like $20 and included 32-bit scratch pad memory and a couple other changes to the architecture. Where he says it would have been able to run Quake if they had done that, and it also would have been able to hack it, and in his own words, against the Saturn and PS1. I don't know what that means. I don't think that means it could have run PS1 and Saturn games, maybe first generation, but it could have run games that looked enough like Saturn and PS1 games that it could have been more competitive than it was. Probably, I speculate it would have looked like a Game Boy Advance. You know how at the end of the Game Boy Advance life cycle, it started to have 3D games that looked kind of sort of like what you'd see on Saturn? Like, not as good, but sort of superficial. It was like texture map 3D with extreme texture warping. Fuck, god damn it. It's really confusing. Sometimes it implies that it's on a 2D plane, but it's not. This is like a belt former. Belt scrolling beat 'em ups. Could that have hacked it? I think so. I think as long as you had good software support, the hardware power doesn't really matter as long as it's good enough to hack it. So in another universe, we might have seen Pac Man World 1 on Jaguar instead of PlayStation. And if Atari was smart, they would have bought the rights to Pac Man while it was feasible to do so. Nowadays, it would cost them way too much fucking money. It would cost many times what they paid for Night Dive. Oh, Night Dive was a great acquisition. I'm sorry, I'm stuck in the mindset of the thought experiment of how I would make Atari a success, because that's going to be wild. Imagine how hard the tail would wag the dog, so to speak, if Atari went from being the biggest failure in gaming to being the biggest success. if they had like a Nintendo Wii moment. Can you fucking imagine how hard that would explode everybody's brains? To see the fucking Yar's Revenge and Centipede and shit relevant again? I want it. The heart wants what it wants. I've been thinking about that. But what I would do if I made like $1 billion of Bitcoin and I was a big stupid idiot who after paying taxes on it blew the rest of it on buying Atari or buying a controlling share of Atari. I have ideas. I like a challenge. I like working within limitations. I think one of the things you could do is just take the core concept of your strongest IPs and expand upon them. Like how Namco did with Pac Man in this game we're playing right now. Centipede is expandable. Instead of being a single screen, you just take your single screen. You do what Nintendo did. Nintendo took Mario Bros. From a single screen game to a side scroller. All of Atari's almost all of their single screen games can be turned into level-based adventures by way of just extending them. Like what Quamp does. Quamp is What If Pong, but the ball escaped the screen and then became a puzzle platform after that. You could do that with Frogger. I talked about that. It turns out someone else already had that fucking idea and made a PS1 game based on that exact idea. I'm not actually a smart guy like I thought I was. I have no original thoughts, just thoughts other people have already done better. So they already made an extended Frogger platformer on PS1, which is miles better than the shitty 3D platformer they tried to make out of it with the new adventure, which everybody hated. But the PlayStation 1 version, it was just Frogger but with multi-screen levels, everybody seemed to really enjoy. How do I get in there? Fuck me, I'm not cooperating. This is why the Pac Man works. It has the crescendo, the climax, which is when you get the power pellet and you can eat all the ghosts, and that just never gets old. So you can make a whole game out of it, easy peasy. Centipede also can be turned into a multi-screen game. You can turn it into a vertical scroller, even it would be just fine. Set it on the forest floor, give it like a Pikmin style aesthetic. And you're just advancing from area to area. Add some bosses and then bam, Bob's your uncle. Thing is, the time to do that was like 1980, or 82 at the latest. 2023 is not the time to do that. They have a lot of catching up to do in terms of evolving their IPs. I don't know why I'm so bad at slots. I'm trying to get... Oh! Coincidence. Blind squirrel sometimes finds a nut. I'm gonna keep talking to that lovely young lady on the dating app, though. Maybe I have more to learn about religions than I thought. I can be motivated to learn a lot of different things by a pretty face. Because I guess I'm just a disgusting hypocrite. And a lonely man. Is this the boss? Yeah, I don't know. I hope this game fucking sold well. Because only if it sold well are we getting Pac Man 2, World 2 remastered. Which is really the better of the two by far. 3 is just another 2, so far as I can tell. Oh fuck, they made Galaxy or Galaga. Pac Man World. Or whichever one that is. I forget which one is Namco. They're so similar. That was an explosive. Mark my words though, if this develops into anything at all, and I wind up turning down the ideal wife at age 40, when I'm a broke-ass MFer, because she's religious, that will be the most artistic thing I've ever done. And that's really a high bar to... I do a lot of artistic things. I would not be the first man who compromised on his ideology. He didn't die alone. I guess that's part of just being human, is meeting people halfway and being willing to step into their world and see the world through their eyes. Blah! I'm gonna suck your dick. No, I'm Pac-Man. I don't have a dick. Don't suck it. I'm gonna throw this switch and it's gonna activate my dick sucking machine. You have no chance to survive. Make your time. Blah! I don't even know what I am. King Galaxian. No, you don't. No, you don't. This is really smart. Atari, pay the fuck attention to this. They're leveraging more than one of their old IPs into the same game, using it as the basis for a minigame. This is smart. You should be doing this. So what's good, Hail Hydra? Oh fuck, shit. Oh, he's pissed now. He's angry and horny. He's horngry. No. No! I don't want to be bored, okay? That's semi-sexual. You need consent for that. It'd be a lot tougher if they didn't give you health refills. I've blinded a sentient being. I don't feel good about myself. I used to play Galaxian on Atari also because it was one of the few games that didn't look like absolute dog shit. Galaxian had decently good graphics on 2600. Hang on, I feel the need to substantiate that claim. It didn't look terrible. By the way, this is the theme for tonight. Have you played Atari today, or else?
Have you played Atari today? Have you played Atari today?
Big Segata Sanshiro energy. This looks reasonably good, almost like something on NES. Which was always a pleasant surprise, in that they had multicolored sprites, mainly. Notice they become single color when they actually start diving at you. This was pretty fun. You had the ship stealing maneuver where you could, or was that Galaga? It's one of I keep confusing the two. I love Galaxian though. It used to be my jam when I was like 5. Because my dad was stingy and didn't see the need to buy an NES right away. When he already had a 2600 and I couldn't tell the difference. So kids at school were like, oh, have you played Ninja Gaiden? I'm like, I don't know what that is, but man, it can't possibly be better than Galaxian. Like, Galaxian, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, flashback. Yeah. The first one is it actually played 7800 games also, if I remember right. It's weird they haven't done that since then, because the 7800 had way the fuck better ports of their arcade games. Tough man. With. That means right the fuck away, I think. Have I been here? Isn't this new to me? Is any of this unlocked? It looks like none of it is. Actually, no, I take that back. You know what I love, but also haunts my fucking dreams, is the theme to Pitfall 2. Pitfall 2 on 2600 was a masterpiece. It had like 256 screens. Most of the game was underground. It had an actual goal to collect all the treasures and under time limit. It was like an early open world game. It was way the fuck too ambitious for the console that it was on. Listen to this. I think there was an NES port. It looked considerably fucking better on NES. It was also shitty though. They fucked it up. There was a Pitfall 2. Yes, there was. So it's the same game, just with NES graphics and also worse controls. Yeah, that's what kept me going when I was a kid and I didn't have an NES yet. Is there was a small selection of Atari games that were roughly on par with NES games at the very tail end of the system's lifespan. It is a jam. There's the remixes of it too. There was like three or four games that were roughly basically NES quality on the Atari. That if you only played those, then you didn't feel like you were missing out that much. Kind of, yes. This is another one that was way the fuck more sophisticated than it had any right to be on such a shit console. It's really hard to find these days. But it is a sort of a dungeon crawler side scroller where you have a helicopter backpack. You can place bombs to blow up walls, obtain grappling hooks, shoot bats with lasers, extract miners who I guess were trapped in cave collapse. Like the cave caved in. Like, this is an actual game, you see what I mean? There weren't a lot of actual games on this console. This is why I have Stockholm Syndrome for it, because every so often there was one like this, and it's like, oh, alright, yeah. I'm not completely deprived. This was a fun game to play. It just kept getting longer and more complicated. 90% of the library of this console was just arcade ports, though, and not very good ones. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, there's also 7800 stuff. 7800 way the fuck better ports of everything. Was there a Dig Dug 2600? I want to say there was never a 2600 port of Dig Dug back in the day. There might be a homebrew. Oh god, it looks terrible. Oh, it looks so bad. What's that, the Pokey sound chip? It's serviceable. I mean, Dig Dug was never a graphical powerhouse. I love Dig Dug though. It's another one of those games they had in Minnesota at the Lakeside Cafe, which is the only place I could access video games, which my dad did not want me to have on vacation. Oh, that is 1982. This did come out back in the day. I take it back. This is pretty damn good, considering. Just doesn't look great. Dun, 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 dun. Here's what Mario Bros. Looked like. Mario Bros. Did not look great either. My sister and I used to play this. That's why I have such fond memories of Atari. That was some of the last happy memories with my sister before everything went wrong in her life. Is before she discovered boys and went off the deep end and discovered drugs, and everything fell apart, and the nightmare began. We were just two little kiddos and sitting in front of the TV playing Mario Bros. On Atari because Dad figured this was just as good as an NES because it had Mario in the title. So we didn't need a $200 or whatever it was NES just yet because we could play Mario on our existing system. And we grit our teeth and said thank you anyway. And we had a lot of fun with it, taking turns, and also it was co-op. We could play two. We didn't take turns on this one. We played both at the same time. We could jump on each other's heads. It's like it's co-op, but it's also you try to sabotage the other guy, like Chippendale on NES. Two-player. Let me find two-player. This is what it was like. When things were simpler and nothing had gone wrong in either of our lives yet. We were innocent, and it was a simpler time, and everything was just happy and funny, colored shapes moving around on the TV, and just joy. I'm gonna turn down that volume. That's really hard on the ears. This was the important thing because we didn't fight over it. We didn't fight over the console if there were games we could both play at the same time. You see. We would get up at early in the morning on Saturday and play this before the cartoons started at like 6 in the fucking morning. Then we play this after school. She loved Mario. MSX. La Mulana, let's see.
Which contains the Holy Grail. Yeah, that's the level La Mulana is operating on. You find the Holy Grail at the start. It's extremely convenient because it lets you teleport between previously discovered areas with absolutely no limitations. But eventually you'll realize that there's a reason for that, and that's because the game doesn't so much as have backtracking as it has backwards, forwards, sideways, windward, leeward, and widdershins tracking. We haven't even scratched the surface yet, and I cannot overstate just how cryptic this game is. This room tells you to be courageous, so naturally, you throw yourself into the spikes. Turns out they were fake all along, and our reward for doing that is getting the shurikens. By the way, La Mesa is also a ninja. The shurikens are a consumable weapon you can throw. The main puzzle of an area is to try and find out how to make the Ankh appear, and this one's pretty easy. You just need to walk along this invisible platform and put a
I have been. I've been talking this entire time. God damn it. What's the last thing you heard me say? This is... I will go out on a limb and say this is the... Not the only good game. See, there's an anime girl there with clothing on. That you can put in a code and make her completely fucking buck-ass naked. Like full frontal with bush and nipples and everything. And what looks like a children's game. I don't know. I guess they figured no kids are going to have a CDI given the cost. It doesn't look bad. It looks as good as, say, a 32X game. It looks better than a 16-bit game, and it has CD audio. All I was really talking about when I was playing the video of Mario on Atari was that that's what my sister and I used to play back before everything started to go wrong in our lives. Which is before I started to get bullied and before she started taking drugs and getting involved with dangerous boys at school. That's my happy place. That's my safe, comforting memory of her, as she used to be. As I wish she had not departed from. I was playing also early memories of playing NES with her. She and I would trade off. She would be Mario and I would be Luigi. In Super Mario Bros. 1. She was always very bossy though. She always got to be player 1. And if it was a one-player game, I could just watch her. So if you are relentlessly horny and reprehensibly horny, first of all, get control of your life. You don't need to see anime girls from a CDI game from like 1994. But if you want to, they're out there. There's plenty of videos out there and screenshots that show you what the uncontrollably horny developer of this game saw fit to include for reasons nobody understands. Why would you do that? Why would you put that kind of content in a game like this? I mean, there's Easter eggs in other games. Like everybody knows about the topless chick in Wild Woody, or that's the Mermaid. Naughty Dog also had one in their logo, and I think Crash Bandicoot 1. I watched a Top Hat Gaming Man video on those kind of Easter eggs, but this one has them all throughout the game. They're everywhere. It's really unnecessary. Not that I'm actually complaining. I should emulate some of these sometime. Not this specific one. It's interesting this isn't even multi-directional scrolling because the CDI was such a weak system. I think that's the thing about nostalgia. We don't really miss the games or the movies so much as we miss those times. Like having my sister back and having her be the way that she was and being carefree. Being just lazy, carefree children sitting plopped in front of the TV playing Atari. But I think there's a cat outside my door trying to get in. I shouldn't want to go back because I think excessive indulgence in nostalgia as escapism is unhealthy. I don't want to be unhealthy. I want to go forwards into a future and build a life for myself. Yeah, Nedist is not lying right now. He's saying that in the 90s, you couldn't just type big boob in Google and see a million results. It was harder to see boobs. There's a funny meme. I forget what the meme context was, but it said civilizations were great when it was harder to see titties. Because that's what motivated men to do great things. And boy, you're not kidding. It was really thrilling to see a hint of a nipple in like a video game or a comic book or something. Some of the more risque ones like Lobo, which had like near nudity. We were horny little monkeys. We were bastards. But we were at least not desensitized. When you're desensitized, it just doesn't bring you joy anymore. That's worse than, I think, being a gooner. If you have to choose between being a gooner and being repressed, I think you should be repressed. Because if you're repressed, you can still at least get joy out of it. Like now and again. If you're a gooner, then you've fucking flattened all of your dopamine receptors and you'll never feel the thrill again like you used to. I don't want that. I just want my sister to be alive, man. I just want her not to be a tweaker. I want life not to have gone the direction that it went. I want her to sit with me in front of the television. If there's an afterlife, that's all I want. I just want to be a kid with my sister again, playing Atari on a lazy Saturday morning, and watching cartoons and eating Lucky Charms and Count Chocula, and turning the milk around. That's not too much to ask. I guess most other people on this channel are a little bit older, so their memories of that kind center around NES or PlayStation. Or maybe Genesis, depending on age range. We have cozy memories of safety and comfort centering around a games console and particular games. Bitch. How could they do that to me? Is this gonna drop a thing on me? It is. Those are always traps, it's confirmed. It's never good. That's Golden Boy, Nedist. You just described it. It was like that. Man, I remember how fucking uncontrollably, chaotically horny I was as a teenager. I went to a fucking Christian school too, so you bet your ass their heads were on a swivel, their eyeballs were like periscopes trying to catch us seeing some kind of horny content and checking our bags for magazine. I got in trouble because I had a Mad magazine and it had I think a nipple in it. In like a cartoon, a black and white hand-drawn cartoon, which was not in any way titillating. They suspected like we could get off on anything, and they were mostly right. I hadn't even noticed it though, honestly. We weren't allowed to play Tomb Raider. They warned our parents about Tomb Raider because there's big booba. Big triangular polygon booba. As if we might get horny from triangle polygon. But then again, we did. We absolutely fucking did. So they had our number, I guess, is what I was mad about. Not that they were wrong, but that they were right. I can't jump on his head, he's got a helmet. Where's the button? There's usually a button by now. Golden Boy is incredibly high art. I think because it's so lowbrow, but it's so goddamn well animated. I think the high point of that series is where he races the girl on the motorcycle who has like a motorcycle fetish on his bicycle because she promises to sleep with him if he wins, and he actually manages to pull it off. Or when he can't afford a computer, so he trains himself on a cardboard computer he made. Besides all the haha horny humor in the Golden Boy, I think the positive thing about it is just this spirit of the indomitable spirit of if I don't have a computer, I'll make one. If I don't have the credentials I need, I'll lie my way into this position. Of just being willing to pull out all the stops in order to get where you want to go. And doing anything to get with a beautiful woman. Which comes at a great cost, I think, is what you learn as a golden man, not a golden boy. It's pretty funny stuff. It's got a lot of fan service, but in a legitimately funny way. A lot of Japanese humor is just fan service in the guise of humor. That's really tiresome when they do that. Like, ha ha ha. Ha ha pantsu. Ha ha ha. Middle schooler maids falling on each other's faces, ass first. Ha ha ha, it's so funny. Classic Japanese humor. It's just uncomfortable. But Golden Boy is just fucking wacky. And really what everything makes sense and they get away with it because it's so fucking well animated. I don't think I saw any tweens in that whole series. It's very jocular. It's the kind of humor you'd think is hilarious if you were a teenage, like a 17-year-old boy, which is who it was made for. If there's still a 17-year-old boy alive inside of you, you'll undoubtedly appreciate Golden Boy. It's a patrician tier anime. It's just him being thirsty and foolish. Where I was in it, which we've all been there. That's what it is to be male, is to be thirsty and foolish. Can I have that? I'm gonna get started doing that. Does that kill me? It doesn't kill me. Yeah, I guess so. It was really unfiltered. It was whatever they thought was funny, without worrying about upsetting anyone. That's the same kind of humor that made the internet great once upon a time. It made like early Newgrounds great. Not when they're trying to be offensive just for the sake of being shocking and offensive. That was a cancer. When that trend started, there were a couple trends in comedy and in animation and on the internet. One was lol so random, like waffle, spork, penguin, or just shit randomly exploding. Like, haha, wasn't that random? And that was cancer. And also trying to be shocking intentionally just for the sake of being shocking, it was also cancer. Which arguably is how South Park started out, but it also outgrew that. South Park became much more than that over time. Crazy to remember these things, having witnessed these trends as they happen. Because these sound like primordial, ancient. Like, things have always been that way to probably to zoomies. There is a balance to be struck, where sometimes things are offensive, but not because they're trying to be, just because it was unfiltered, because it didn't pull any punches trying to be funny. That's the stuff that was just really classic. Like Jeff K, or like Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff, or Jerry Jackson Films, which is a David Firth character. Like, Jerry Jackson is funny because he's just a stupid, ignorant teenager. And he makes terrible Flash animations, which is lampooning the fact that many Flash animations were made by stupid, ignorant teenagers who thought very highly of their skills. And when Jerry Jackson refers to his black friend as a chocolate man repeatedly, it's not meant that you should laugh at that because it's funny that he said that. It's funny because he is a product of ignorant parents who didn't teach him something as basic as neutral language and respecting diverse. You know, his ignorance is the joke. It's not promoting it. There are people who can't pick up on the difference between the two, or they would just rather not have any instances of certain language in any media. Chocolate man. It also touches on things that are maybe inappropriate, like child abuse and domestic abuse and drug use and poverty and prostitution and things like that in a way that is it sounds terrible on paper, but because he's a stupid child and he doesn't really understand what's happening, he describes them through the eyes of a child. That's where the humor comes from, which is also kind of the basic humor of like Dennis the Menace or Crayon Shin-Chan. It's just seeing terrible adult stuff through the eyes of a stupid kid who doesn't realize how serious it is. Shin-Chan is another great example of humor from that era. The American dub. I could watch Shin-Chan for fucking ever. 2000 through 2010 Cartoon Network, man. It was a drug. It was a hell of a drug. It was a different time. I hope that can come back. I think we're kind of getting over the whole neo-Puritan trend. I think the point of it was just to raise awareness so that we're conscientious in our use of tropes. But look at how the R word used to be like, I can't believe you would say that. And now people are saying retarded again, left and right. No one cares. Because the people who were pushing that new taboo ran out of steam. And without those people pushing the taboo, there's no one left who gave a shit. I hope it's like that with everything. To where we can just be funny again. And not worry about the fact that it's offensive. Everything is offensive to someone. And again, not being intentionally offensive for the sake of it, because that's cringe. That has always been cringe. That's not thoughtful humor. That's just haha, I say bad word. Haha, it was hurtful. The balance is when it happens to be hurtful or offensive now and then, just because it's speaking about real things in a reckless and cavalier way, which was the greatness of Sweet Bro and Hella Jeff or Jerry Jackson or Crayon Shin-Chan. I think that's a kind of a timeless trope. Like that meme circulating on Twitter, I'll never call it X, where that kid drew a drawing of what her mother does for a living that resulted in her mother being called in to speak with the teacher, and she's holding a big shovel, and men are surrounding her trying to pay for the shovel because she works in Home Depot, but it looks like a stripper pole. That's a good sensible chuckle. South Park has some of that. That's part of the South Park formula. Part of it is also having the kids be unnaturally intelligent, though, when the plot calls for it. So they're smart when they need to be to deliver a message, which is whatever the creators think is currently politically true and important. And then they're dumb again when it's funny. They're innocent and hapless when it's funny for them to be, which is also kind of come to think of it, that's also Homer. Homer sometimes gets randomly intelligent out of nowhere, doesn't he? He'll sometimes just randomly, let's say, like mathematical formulas, and that's the gag. It's how did he know that? This is like Baby's first comedy analysis. I'm sure there are people who've done long YouTube videos breaking down what makes funny things funny. And then what I'm saying is like entry-level 101 comedy stuff. That's an interesting topic, though. I mean, I've done the same thing for many years to horror. What makes things scary? Which is something you have to understand to write good horror. You can do that to any emotion, I imagine. What makes things scary and what makes things funny are two sides of the same coin. There's a danger of destroying your own enjoyment of it, though, by overanalyzing, because once you see how the sausage is made, it's never as appetizing. Once you deconstruct what makes everything funny, almost nothing is funny to you after that. Likewise, once you deconstruct what makes horror scary, you don't see scary shit anymore, you just see tropes. It's like, oh, I've seen that trope before. Boogity boogity boo, oh, real fucking spooky. Like I haven't seen it in 100 minutes. Like me with fucking scary games and mocking how almost all the monsters are humanoids. They just have gnarly looking skin. Really? Can I kill him at all? I said I don't have a burning need to. Interesting enemy concept. They got a little bit creative in this. Do you remember how immersive video games used to be when you only had like one every couple months? Especially on Game Boy. When you're on like a long car trip and all you had was Game Boy and almost anything on Game Boy felt like VR. Like it would completely absorb me. That shitty little pea soup green LCD screen, dot matrix, which it proudly proclaimed beneath it as, because at the time a lot of LCD games did not have pixels. They were segmented into predefined shapes, like those Tiger games. Game Boy's like, nope, that's not what this is. This is a dot matrix video game comprised of pixels. This is the state of the art. Go the fuck away. Go the fuck away, dude. Bro, listen to me. You just try to kick me? I only have one of these. I need two. Shit. Where was the second one? Oh, I can punch them even though they have the helmet on. Nope. So I guess you're just fucking fucked if you don't get the items you need here. Can I go through here? Oh, I see. At the same time that they made up a bunch of bullshit to adapt Pac Man to a platformer, which they did, like all these random generic platforming environments like Temple World, like volcanic, ice, pirate. At the same time, having said that, Pac Man makes a lot of sense as a platformer because he collects shit. He collects the dots, and he collects power pellets, which are power-ups. So he kind of makes sense as a platformer, right? I don't know what else they would have even possibly turned this franchise into. Well, you gonna make a... I mean, they tried a bunch of stuff, too. They made Pac Man puzzle games. That one on the Super Nintendo. They tried a bunch of stuff. This seems to be what stuck, at least for a while. Oh, I see. Let's pick up what you're laying at. Oh, no, you actually can't go up there. What scares me is like cancer. Watching cancer kill people I love slowly and destroying who they used to be. That and Alzheimer's and dementia. Which I didn't know to be afraid of as a child. Just degenerate. Let me make my words. Degenerative diseases, basically, are what terrify me, because my parents are old. And my dad seems pretty much immune. He seems to be one of those sharp old guys. His brain is just as good shape now as it was 10 or 20 years ago. Not my mother, though. My mother's not in great shape. I don't want to be a downer, but she's not. Ever since the fall, she's not been really cogent. I've been making plans to get her signed up for swimming, because that's one of the few exercises she can still do, because the water supports her weight. She's very fragile and she's very sort of batty now, and it's hard to see her that way, because she used to be very clever. And she always tells us that's what happens to women in her family. She's very fatalistic about it, or where she was when she could actually say things that made sense anymore. But yeah, I guess finding the squatter that's been living in a part of my house would also be spooky. Humans are the only real monsters, at the risk of coming off as extremely corny and cliche. Some cornball shit. Fuck! Oh, god damn it. I don't think anyone's ever died that hard. No, don't you patronize me. Play in easy mode? No, thank you. How dare you even suggest such a thing? That didn't count. You didn't see that. You have no idea that happened. Why doesn't that work? Why does that work from further away? Lesson learned, I suppose. It's really hard to believe when you lose people that are close to you, how life just kind of goes on, you know? It's like, I'm still here, and I'm still trying to enjoy myself instead of just mourning. Instead of just grieving for the rest of my life in rags on a street corner, just crying in a curled up fetal position. It feels like that's what I should do with the rest of my life. Like, I should never be able to recover. That if I recover, I'm somehow betraying their memory. I know that's stupid, that's irrational, but that's what it feels like. Not like that's what they would want. Like you need to do justice to, or like pay tribute to how much they meant to you by suffering a suitable amount. Is that foolish? Is that just human beings hurting ourselves the way that we like to do? I would guess so. Anyway, that's what I'm afraid of. I've tasted losing people close to me a couple times now, and boy, I sure don't fucking like that. Boy, I just gotta say I don't care for it. It's not my favorite. and I still don't know really how to cope with it. My solution is just not to cope. Oh, bitch titties, right in the lava. I'm stuck. It appears to be glitched. It appears to be glitched. I'll have to do the whole thing over again. Dick sauce. I really have to too, that's my dog. That really sucks that it works that way. I have no attacks right now. No, I do. Well, they don't work in the starting area. That's a bit odd. Oh, it's because you don't have any pellets to throw yet. Okay, I get it now. That's why I got into writing horror. That's all I can do with those feelings. That's productive and not self-destructive. Most of what I want to do with the feelings that sort of bubble up when I think about what became of my sister and Laura and what's going to become of my mother before too long is to just fucking kill myself. And that's not productive. That's not what anyone in my life wants me to do. But if I don't suppress those feelings, and I don't know how to cope with them, that's what's going to happen. There's nowhere to put them. So I need to put them somewhere. And I don't know if it's the best or healthiest solution that anyone has ever come up with, but it works for me to just write them down. Just turn them into a story that conveys how fucking awful, how disgustingly dreary and dismal and nasty and terrible it really is. And just heart-wrenching HD detail. And I don't know, doing that makes me, I don't know if it makes me feel better. It gives me closure. It processes the feelings very, very effectively. It is very effective as a form of self-therapy. I mean, I think lots of therapists would tell you what you ought to do is you ought to write down how you feel about this because it'll help you process it. Well, that's what I do. I just figured as long as I'm writing, I may as well make something out of it that can sell people. Then I get some money, too. Look at this fucking falling down the stairs. Because that's the world we live in. If what you do doesn't make money, then it's a waste of time. Everything you gotta do has gotta be monetized. This is where a Zoomer would make some snide comment about late-stage capitalism. And capitalism is responsible for the single greatest improvement to standard quality of life in many centuries. And even the poor in America live better than many royal people and nobles did in the Middle Ages. Oh, I was supposed to go backwards here, that's why. I never did. There we go. Oh, that's what that is. That's a little mini game. Don't fall in the fucking lava, you dumb idiot. Fuck bitches. Get money. titties. There's more hazards now than just the ghosts. Oh, I timed that just perfectly wrong. Did I fail? I failed, didn't I? Well, what would I have gotten if I had succeeded? Those are hard, man. I shouldn't dwell on this. I've already processed most of this stuff. It really... It's like squeezing a fruit and until all the juices come out of the fruit. Which is why I can't write about it anymore, because I've already processed all those feelings and gotten everything out of them I can use to write with. I could never write another story about, for example, returning people to life from in a Frankensteinian way, because I already did that. I could never write another story about the atmosphere disappearing. I already did that. And other irrational anxieties. I could never write another story about anxiety about my family. My family almost all being gone now, because I already did that. That was the background of your memories. I wrote that story already. It's like a fucking Horcrux. You seal away all those bad feelings in the story that you wrote about those feelings. And it has, it sounds superstitious. I guess it kind of is, but it works. Like, I remember those feelings, but they're not as strong as they used to be. Because I captured them. That really works. It doesn't sound like it does. It sounds like some Oprah Winfrey The Secret bullshit. I wonder if it's that way with comedy too, if you can't laugh at something you already wrote jokes about. I sneezed at just the wrong time. It's kind of like how you can get desensitized with porn, where it's not hot anymore, because you just overexposed yourself. I think it works that same way with comedy and with horror. With any kind of stimuli, you can overexpose yourself and over-intellectualize it, where it only really works on you if you don't know why it works. If that makes sense. Preserve the mystique. It is! It's like sealing away demons. Open up, you fucking fuck. I need 2 of them. How's that fair? How was I supposed to have 2 of these by now? Did you see any other whatever the fuck that thing is? I didn't. Why is there a high score on a platformer? I guess humans love watching numbers go up. There we go, we got 2 of them now. Now I should go backwards, which is what I didn't do last time. Come on. I get another shot at it. A whole fresh new chance to fail again. I love how the bricks move. He's a big boy. Lord, he coming. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh god. Anything is scary if it's coming after you. titties. You got 0 lives left. Gotcha. Gotcha, bitches. Now we gotta find out the prizes. Well, Zen Online, we've been talking about such light, uplifting topics as losing your loved ones to cancer and dementia and other diseases you have no control over, and what scares us and why, and also horny 1990s anime. We've covered quite a breadth of topics tonight. Look at his little penis nose. He's got a baby carrot penis for a nose. Just a little fella. It's a wee little man. We're gonna do it this time. Wise man once said, don't be afraid to start over, because you're not starting over from ignorance, you're starting over from experience. Funny you should say Brazilian. I was just talking about how like 90% of the attractive women on the dating app I'm on right now are Brazilian or Argentinian. That part of the world just has a lot of smoking hot babes. White girls, are you even trying? No wonder they're so fucking happy in Brazil all the time, according to quality of life and happiness indices. It's just a little, it's just fucking hammered into his face too. Look at the angle. Yeah, now that I'm getting into it, this is really starting to get fun. The gameplay is really simple, but it's also perfected. It doesn't try to be anything more. I'm still looking forward to a remaster of 2, though. 2 is where it got good by modern standards. Like, this is not what we would look at and call a 3D platformer today. It's 3D, it's a platformer, but there's fucking nothing to it. It's extremely crude and simple. Pac Man World 2 and 3 were much more like Mario 64. They have basically the same move set, but a big open world, level hubs and whatnot. The stuff we're used to. I'm appreciating all the remasters, though, aren't you? We're eating good. Us internet boomer aged gamers. We're getting a lot of good stuff that was never guaranteed. And besides the remasters, we're also getting spiritual successors. A lot of games where basically we waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited for sequels or remasters that never came. So gamers just said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. Which is kind of what a lot of the Sonic clones, like Spark the Electric Jester 2, were about. Is I can do a better job than you, Sega. And that's what Asura the Striker is. It's a modern take on Space Harrier, which was sorely needed, in my opinion. There should be more of those. There's a bunch of games that got kind of lost at the wayside. Discs of Tron would make it good. Fuck, shit. A lot of classic games we haven't gotten any updates to. Oh yeah, the Hungarian. I remember this. I was there for that. I like it. I get what you're saying, Nedis, but for me, being able to see it in a widescreen format at HD is something I appreciate. Zorch. I still haven't played that. It seems like I should. We have a banana now. We can't get dog. Please let me out. You can talk? What the fuck? Yeah, he's just lying. That's not average. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Some of those... I have seen charts of breast size by country. And Europe does pretty well. I think Russia had the biggest. But then, again, they're probably counting like babushkas. Where they're wrinkly saggies. There we go. Forced backtracking. Not Kino. I only have one thing of health left. If I fuck up now, I have to do all that shit all over again. Do not die. I knew you could do it. You have way too much faith in me, dog. You watched me die twice. What the fuck? Did you just Poochie? He has to return to his home planet, I guess. He pulled a Poochie. I've noticed a bunch of new YouTube channels that are basically just booba, where it's unrelated shit like how to pronounce words in Italian, but they have some like ridiculously proportioned titty monster doing the pronunciation. Because why wouldn't they? I'm not complaining, but man, some of those makes me fucking sweat. I get the boob sweats watching those. Yeah, I know. I know this is not the thing to be concerned about when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but I hope the world's regard for Russian culture survives this. It's really a shame that one guy can come along after centuries upon centuries of world-renowned music and artwork and literature and fucking take a dump all over it. I feel like people are, I want to say people are smarter than that they won't hold it against an entire ethnicity of people, an entire culture. But I've already seen some of that. I've already seen libraries omit Russian texts. I've already seen concert halls say they refuse to play Tchaikovsky and whatnot, which is stupid. Who are you punishing and why? That's true. We also haven't had a president in a long while that hasn't blown up hospitals, which everybody's talking about the Israeli attack on the Palestinian hospital right now. Israel first said we didn't do it, or no, they said we did it, but there were terrorists inside. Then they walked it back and said we didn't do it. It was actually Hamas. Now, the United States intel is saying actually it wasn't Israel, but we can't fucking trust our own government because of how close our ties are with Israel. It's hard to know who's lying. It's hard to know. sounds like a boss. That really sounds like a boss. Looks like the standard formula is 2 regular levels and a boss level. Like freedom fries. We did the same thing to France. Oh, this is actually pretty clever. It's like Battletoads, the first-person boss fight where you're looking through the boss's eyes. Maybe we did it, maybe we didn't. Yeah. It's really unfortunate how polarized Twitter has become because of that. People will fucking dogpile you if you support the wrong one. I'm not religious. I kind of don't like sand religions. I would like them both to lose. Which people seem fine with as long as you don't take sides. And as long as the reason you're not taking sides isn't just because you're a fence sitter. You have a definite ideology at work. This is again just a Crash Bandicoot boss though. They really borrowed a lot from Crash Bandicoot. I gotta give him chops, I mean kudos, on how creative they've been. This is a pretty creative boss. Oh, never mind. It's just that same boss from Mario 64. Fuck. I spoke too soon. No, I did not mean X. It's Twitter. It'll always be Twitter. Yeah, I'm here to fuck your ass again, Pac Man. I already told you I don't have an ass. I've got the Chaos Emeralds. Wrong game, asshole. Chaos Control! I bet you can't get to my orb. It's got energy chains around it. Try to get my orb. Oh, you gotta do it for a while. Oh, it keeps your progress. So in this episode of First World Problems, it's cold as fuck out. It's not even like snowy, fun cold. It's cold, wet, soupy, nasty, rainy weather. It's shitty autumn. And in weather like this, I want ramen. And I don't mean top ramen, I mean ramen from a ramen shop. But it's fucking expensive. It's expensive as fuck, too. I mean, really expensive. Last year, during COVID, it was $14 for the ramen I usually get. It's $18 now. That's what I'm doing. I am dead naming Twitter, aren't I? I bashed your orb. What the fuck are you gonna do? Now what? Oh, that's what. Never mind. I have to do this all in one life, really? Okay, I have to actually focus for this. Yeah, I'm not calling it meta. Fuck you, Mark Zuckerberg. More like Fuckerberg. Oh, bam, got him. More like Mark Suckaturd. Oh, got him. It's the quality of the noodles in the broth, though. It's not the same if you make it at home. I'll give it a shot, though. I've seen the packets for sale, and I've tried to do it before. I managed not to fuck up udon. Everything else, I either cook it too much and the noodles get like sloppy, or not enough, and they're too crunchy and hard. I guess that's the only option remaining, though, because I can't fucking afford ramen at $18 a pop for one meal. That's like 6 meals at what I normally spend. It's not true. Never mind. It's like 3 meals, 3 or 4 meals. It's not really affordable. What do you want to bet? It's 3 hits and he's dead. This can't go on that much longer. Blah, 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 blah. That's 4 times. Never mind, he's got a health bar. I'm stupid. How did I not see that? He's got a death ray? How you gonna do me like that? He's got like 4 different attacks going now. Really? I can't really dodge that at all. Barely made it. I didn't think I would. It actually put up a good challenge too. Look at how happy he is. Why is he so happy? He lives in a nightmare world. Oh fuck, this one off. I've never gotten all 3. Fucking suck at this. I guess I don't care either. Close enough. This is a pretty good boss fight. It's a bad guy. Talk to me, sentient dog. Look at his cold, dead eyes. He's got like shark eyes. He's got the shoe button eyes of a killer doll. Factory or fairgrounds? I think factory. Green Tilda Slayer. I say we've had enough for this time. About halfway through the game now. See some of the other games we talked about. We might come back to this. What did I say on Twitter recently? I think I said we need a Doom Slayer. We need a Doom Eternal DLC that's based on McDonald Land. 1970s McDonald Land. I've showed you guys that. We don't need to go back to that video. We don't need to look at that ever again. I don't think. I hope not. You know the one I'm talking about? Where there's like food creatures? It's like hamburger flowers. And it's all like warbly 70s audio and poor video quality. Fuck it, we have to download this anyway. Excuse me. This would make a bitchin' horror game, if anyone's watching. We've already done Chuck E. Cheese themed horror, that's Five Nights at Freddy's. We've already done Sesame Street themed horror, that's My Friendly Neighborhood. This is an untapped market, is a fast food dimension commercial themed horror.
For a trip through McDonald Land. Take along a friend and grab a hold of Ronald's hand. Follow Ronald McDonald through the land of apple pie trees. And don't be surprised if you meet Big Mac and Big Cheese. There's thick shake volcanoes, you'll even find a French fry thatch. Now just turn around and see if you won't find a hamburger patch as you're heading for a McDonald's in McDonald Land, a McDonald's in McDonald Land, a McDonald's.
My skin is crawling!
The whole
I hate this too. Look at Grimace. I like how every aspect of society was represented too. They have
Get yourself ready for a trip through McDonald Land. Surprised if you meet Big Mac and Big.
they have the police state, so they have the enforcers of capitalism, and then they have Big Mac, which is the